Alberta's pride. Hey, ho, hey, ha, 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 this, hey, 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 oh.
Out in Alberta where the Rockies rise, Tommy Temper streaming with fire in his eyes, from a lake house glowing in the moonlight's gleam. He's the YouTube king of the widest stream.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful day in Canada. That's right. We're located in Canada, the place that's having a war right now with the United States. Can you believe it? Unbelievable. There's a war going on here. Doesn't look like a war to me. Looks kind of nice out, actually. Welcome to Sylvan Lake. Let's go out for a swim or maybe a sail or something like that. A little bit of wind out there, but a nice, beautiful, sunshiny day. It's going to be somewhere between 20 and 30 degrees up here. And yeah, it's beautiful. Fry in there. Hey, nice to see you, Fry. Who else have we got in there? Oh, we have Jeannie in there. Hey, nice to see you in the chat. Good morning. Yeah, things are really cooking up here in Canada. We've got a big trade war going on between Canada and the United States, so we're going to get into a little bit of that. I don't have a really long show here today because I'm going to be actually heading on the highway back to Edmonton today for a short stint in Edmonton. But that being said, I couldn't resist. I should have actually been live here every single day for the last little while because we've got so much stuff going on here between Canada and the United States and lots of stuff to be going over here. It's absolutely crazy out there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just getting into it here now. Yeah, I was on a few other lives there today, and Brett was over there too as well. I said hi to him over there. A few other people that kind of said hi. Giuseppe's Pizza. Hey, good to see you in there. Dash and Grandma. Good to see you as well. Yeah, lots of good friends in there. East Coast. Hey, good to see you. peace, love, and pot out there. Looking good. Looking very nice today. We got Michelle in there. Hey, Michelle. Says, hope everything works out for all of us. Yeah, exactly. Fry TV, I don't know. What do you think about it? You've probably been following what's been going on here. Nice day in Edmonton. Sounds good. Well, we're going to be heading up to Edmonton. I don't know what'll happen. Yeah, I knew you were going to go live after seeing you earlier. Yeah, exactly. Well, I couldn't resist. I should actually be in the car, mobile on the road and whatever, but we'll spend an hour or so going over the some of the latest stuff going on here. And really, it's beginning to really blow up. Everyone is going crazy out there. Lots of people talking about the whole events here. You've got, the people on the side of Mark Carney, and they think that what he's doing is exceptional and it's great. And, we have to stick to our guns. You got people that are on the side of Donald Trump. If you're American, you probably, are okay with what he's doing, tariffing things that are, coming into the United States to, make more production people be producing, or let's say, for example, automobiles. You want them to be built in the United States, not in Canada. Keep the money flowing within your own country. Brenda in there. Hey, Brenda, good to see you. Big ups to you. Brett says, I was debating going live, but figured if I gave it a bit of time, you were going to pop on. Yeah, I will later. Okay, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I know. Well, everyone has something to say about this. Well, Brett, you were kind of peppering the chat with a little too much of the, Zionism stuff there, which, it's... we're not really into that, but that's your agenda. So you know what I mean, Brett?
Fuck all the fucking way off.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I have lots of Canadian friends, says Michelle. Yeah, exactly. I know, you've got people on both sides of the fence here. I can see exactly what Trump is trying to do, from his point of view, which is to bring the jobs back home. It's not rocket science, just exactly what's going on here. And Trump is the kind of guy that he asks for the max and then lowers his expectations, And as far as, me just kind of delving into the situation and just taking it from my point of view here, I would have to say that we don't know what the whole deal is because we're being kept in the dark, right? You in the States, from Donald Trump's point of view, he's kind of holding the cards close to his chest, and the same thing up here in Canada. And unfortunately, we don't know the truth. We don't know exactly what the deal is. What's the deal? What is the deal? What kind of a deal does Trump want to make with Canada? We don't know what that deal is. Trump's not saying, and Carney's not saying. So, all the rest of it are just, we're even the premiers in Canada, they're like being kept in the dark. Maybe they know a little bit more than us. I don't know, but I don't really think so. But they're just going berserk. People are going berserk. People all over Canada are just bashing Trump like crazy. You've got people that don't like Carney. They're bashing Carney. You guys know my point of view being here in Alberta. I don't like Carney. I don't like the Liberals. I don't like the Liberal government. I don't like anything that they do. I don't like anything that they say. I don't trust what they do and say, and there's lots of people that think like me, but likewise. And hey, the people in my chat, they're like all over the place, right? You're going to have people that love Trump, people that don't like Trump, people that love Carney, people that don't like Carney. Then you got Brett, who's like right in the middle of the fence, who he plain doesn't like anybody. Any politician, right? They're all the same. Throw them all into the cesspool, right?
Fuck all the fucking way off.
Mama Red, good to see you coming in from the eastern part of the States there. Good to see you there, Mama Red. Yeah, okay, let's get into it here first. Okay, so the whole trade talks here are Trump is, just to outline from my point of view here, and hey, lots of people go, well, Tommy, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're a dummy, you don't know what you're talking about, and I get it, because everyone has an opinion, and opinions are like assholes, right? And everyone has one, right? But all I'm saying is my point of view is just that Trump is putting tariffs on all countries that are trying to sell stuff to the United States. We know that, okay? We know that. Now, apparently, Canada is getting a better deal than most other countries in the world. Those are the two things that we know, okay? Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Well, it is true that Trump is trying to put tariffs on every country. We know that, right? And I don't think there's any country out there that's getting away with zero tariffs on their products coming into the United States. And let's call a tariff what it is. It is actually causing your people within your country to pay more for an item that is being imported into your country. And by the way, I've got a metal detector here, a macro metal detector, and I've been trying to buy a new coil for it. The coil is the part that you put on the ground to detect the metal, whatever. And the only place that I can find a coil is in the United States. I found it on a couple of different websites, and I also found it on eBay, and I found the coil on Amazon. Okay, and all of those places do not ship to Canada, so I'm unable to buy a coil for my metal detector because those companies in the United States will not ship the coil to Canada. I have no idea why. Maybe they've been burnt on shipping stuff to Canada in the past, because companies are like that. If they ship something to Canada and then it arrives and then people don't pay for it and then it ends up being sent back and they end up getting burnt, you know what I mean? There's always that happens. But I'm just kind of wondering, why can I not buy an item from the United States that the companies are just plain not wanting to ship to Canada? So I'm already being screwed I don't know if it has anything to do with this free trade or taxes or tariffs or anything like that. I have absolutely no idea. But I'm already finding that there are companies in the United States that just plain don't want to sell products to Canadians. So, let's put that on the table right away. That's what's something that I'm just trying to metal detect out on the beach there with the metal detector, and I want a different coil than the one that I have. The one that I have is like tiny. It's small, very small, about this big. And I want one that's a little bit larger. You can metal detect a bigger area with it. So I'm kind of getting screwed with being able to buy an American product. So that's not a good situation. But anyways, the deal is that Trump has put on the line how much he wants to charge tariffs on different items coming into the States, right? And apparently those tariffs, the percentage of those tariffs are actually better for Canada than what is being offered to other countries. Okay, so that's where we're standing here, just on the get-go. Now, there's a lot of other things involved with the tariffs that we don't know about because Trump's side is not saying, and with Carney, he's not saying. And the only way for us to really find out what the hell this deal is all about is for Parliament to be recalled, because apparently Parliament is not going to sit for another month in Canada, to have the opposition party grill Carney to find out what are the details of this deal with the United States. So, right now we're all sitting in the dark. And of course, Carney doesn't have to recall Parliament, and he's just the kind of a guy that is going to do absolutely nothing other than hide his cards and not tell us Canadians exactly what's going on. Now, Carney, he's being real smug about the whole frickin' thing, which pisses me off. That's why one of the reasons I don't like Carney. He knows how to spend money, spend my tax money, and, we don't get a lot for it, you know what I mean? But one of the things that he's doing, he's trying to say that it has something to do with French sovereignty, with French language. This whole deal with Trump is he's pinning it on something to do with the French people. And what exactly it is, we don't know. We don't know what it is. Like, what did Trump say? What did Trump do? What is Trump trying to do? We do know that any products being sold to Canada, let's say it's a box of cereal, it has to have both French and English writing on the labels. We know that much. Which I hate that. Being from the part of Canada where we don't speak French, and there's very, very little French spoken in Alberta here and in all of Western Canada. In fact, you go outside of Quebec, and there is not much French. There are some provinces back east where there's a bit of French in some of the provinces there, right? That being agreed. But of course, those people that speak French in those provinces can also speak French, and they can read, or English. They can speak English, and they can also read English labels, right? So the only place where you might need French labeling on a product would be Quebec, okay? But when old man Trudeau, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, got into power, he made it like right across Canada that everything has to be labeled on every product, French and English, okay? And that goes for, when you buy something and there's instructions on how to use that product, yeah. And on a lot of products, you open it up and you see, if it's a universal product like an iPhone or something, you'll see English, French, German, Italian, Chinese, whatever. You'll see instructions in all different languages. Well, I suppose, and I don't know what the deal is of what Trump is trying to do, but maybe he's trying to make it so that products sold to places other than Quebec need to only have English on them. I don't know whether that's part of the whole thing. I don't know what the deal is with that. But anyways, we have an extraordinary claim here. And Carney is no longer saying America objected to specific Canadian regulations. He's telling Quebecers, and really, he wants the Quebec vote, because there's some votes going on where some people are being replaced in various ridings across Canada because of different things that happened to the people that were in those ridings. So he wants, the Liberals to win. So he's trying to get the votes from the Quebecers, right? So keep this in mind as well. He's telling Quebecers that Americans see French language and Francophone culture themselves as irritants. Now, do you think that Trump is trying to get rid of French culture? I doubt it. But, he's using that as like bait for the Quebecers to get them to vote for him, right? Show the demand, show the negotiating text. Yeah, let's see what's going on with the negotiations. Show where Washington asked Canada to surrender French language rights, because without that evidence, this looks less like diplomacy and more like manufacturing a cultural grievance to sell a failed trade negotiation. Okay, let's listen to this bit here where he's in Quebec. And by the way, he's going to spend billions of dollars in Quebec to get the Quebec shipbuilders to build some kind of ships in Quebec. I'm not sure what those ships are for, whether they're some kind of icebreakers or what the hell these ships are, but he's over there trying to get Quebec votes. We know that much. And he's brought up this whole deal with Trump. Let's listen to this bit here with Mark Carney.
In your Saturday press conference, you were very clear. Quebec culture was at risk in this agreement. Jameson Greer wrote not so long ago, it's a funny fact. So, is it Netflix, or is it that they really don't want to provide French instructions in French or labels in French?
Firstly, this is not a funny fact. For Americans,
Funny
French
fact.
language, the Francophone culture, the Canadian culture.
Yeah, listen to what he says here, because he's asked a pretty straightforward question, but he goes around, saying it's not funny, whatever, and he really doesn't say much of anything here, and he doesn't give us any clues as to what exactly is going on between him and Trump either.
These are irritants. Here in Quebec, here in Canada, these are rights. Basic rights, fundamental rights.
What rights?
So there is an enormous spread between our perspective and the U.S. perspective, personally.
Talk about saying something without saying something. Like typical Carney. I didn't gain anything from that at all.
So, yes, during the last hours of negotiation, yes, the Netflix was also looked at, and also the discoverability on platform. And perhaps you may have fun tonight, but then after that, we will be watching some TV and we'll be looking for French speaking.
Yeah, like what does he want? What exactly does Carney want? Trump, remember, in the United States, Netflix and those services are English. They're English services. Like, what does he want? Does he want the United States to bend over and to produce French programming for Quebec? As if Netflix does that for other countries. They don't. It's in English. You'll see other countries, like I see China or Japanese programming on Netflix subtitled to English. You see stuff from other countries translated over to English. But what does he want? Does he want Netflix to produce programming specifically for Quebec, and that's in the deal? Like, what kind of a stupid thing is that? Again, Mark Carney is not telling us exactly what's going on, so we have no idea what he's actually talking about. But it's something about Netflix and Quebec. I don't know if you guys can figure it out. I certainly can't.
Quebec programs. Will that be easy? And this, thanks to the bill here in Quebec, it is easier.
Yeah, let AI subtitle any English program into French. How about that? What do you need? Special programming just for Quebec? in order to allow Netflix to sell programming into Canada? Like, that's ridiculous.
For the Americans, this is an irritant. All right. Here it's a law. And also, you have some journalists who might perhaps, yes, be deemed nagging by the Americans, but the Canadian government always says no. The French language, the French culture is not a funny fact. It is a right.
What do you take from that? He's basically trying to make it look like Trump is bashing Quebec and the French language and the French people. Is he using it to his advantage because he knows there's some by-elections that are going to be happening in Quebec? I don't know. I have to take my little blue pill here, though. Hang on. Let me take this. I'm taking my vitamins here on air. You should take yours too. So grab your vitamins and stuff like that. Grab your little blue pill. Take it right now, Steve, Lobster Jeff, whoever else. Brett out there. Brett, have you had your little blue pill today?
Fuck all the fucking way off.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so I don't know what the hell's going on with that bit. What is Carney pissed off about? What are the French Canadians pissed off about? Other than Carney is trying to use it to his advantage. And at the same time, Carney is also making a big announcement there where he's going to be building some ships in Quebec, and there's apparently billions of dollars available, which there's no money available for any of that stuff. And it's not an investment, but it's some kind of it's always an investment with Carney. And it's going to benefit the workers in Quebec. It's great for Quebec, right? He's going to be spending my tax money as a Canadian to build some kind of ships in Quebec there for who knows what the hell what. Okay? So, I smoked the blue pills. Yeah, exactly. Jeff. Okay. I know what you mean. Yeah. The heck with, Brett says, the heck with electricity. Shut off the oil and natural gas and the Americans will fold and crumple overnight like a cheap lawn chair. No, Brett, no, you're falling right into the trap. You're falling into that trap where all you're doing is trying to make Trump pissed off with talk like that. We're not going to do anything like that. The talk of shutting off electricity, shutting off gas, shutting off oil, that is not what we want to do. That is not a negotiating tactic. Oh, well, it is. It is a tactic, but it's not a good tactic to take. I would not suggest that. And for Ford to be saying stuff like that, I think that it's absolutely ridiculous that he's doing that. But anyways, the Globe Mail is reporting this one here. The Globe and Mail is reporting. Let's bring so you can see it here. The Globe and Mail is reporting Mark Carney walked away from trade negotiations to protect liberal digital censorship. Is that right? Mark Carney announced on Friday that he was walking away from negotiations with the United States. Well, he definitely did that. Okay, but they're reporting that Mark Carney blew up trade talks with the Americans to protect liberal digital censorship. Now, remember, some of the things that we have to deal with here, for example, up here in Canada, if you go on Facebook, they've already done this, okay, that if you want to publish a news story and you have a link, let's say on your Facebook account, and you want to put a link to, let's say, the Globe and Mail, when you put that link in there, it will not appear. You cannot post something from mainstream media on Facebook. All you can do is post a meme, okay, with a picture on it. You can do that, or you can talk about something and where to maybe find it. But any kind of an actual link to any kind of a news article or anything like that up here in Canada is effectively unallowed. It's not allowed. And, Mark Carney, he wants to protect that, what's called digital censorship, to keep it so that us Canadians here cannot post links to any kind of a news organization on Facebook. Like, it is unbelievable. And I don't like that whatsoever. I don't like what the Liberals are doing. They brought these bills in here in Canada so that, you've got hate speech where who knows what hate speech is. Maybe it's something where you're talking negative about the government. I don't know. They're going to start throwing people in jail and whatever over this hate speech stuff here right away. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, and Trump is calling Carney out for lying and using French language as a political tool. Well, Carney, the ball's in your court now to prove you're not lying. Release the details and show who's lying. Yeah, exactly. Don't keep us Canadians in the dark. Or is your Democratic American COO, remember he brought in this American woman there, the COO, who was advising him. Is she advising Carney to withhold information? We don't know. We don't know what's going on. We're being kept in the dark. We're just being screwed here in Canada. So we have this from Donald Trump. Donald Trump says, I would never interfere with Canadians speaking French. In fact, I've never even thought of doing such a stupid thing. This lie was made up by a weak and ineffective prime minister in an attempt to gain political support, which he has totally lost from the people of Quebec. I love French Canadians. Yours truly, President Donald Trump. So, yeah, there you hear where Mark Carney is trying to throw Donald Trump under the bus with regards to French Canadians. Again, we don't hear from Trump what the deal is or what was actually said or what the Americans actually want. Do they want just English language on cereal boxes, for example? Is that what they really want? Do they want, only English language programming sent to Canada from Netflix hey, you can always put French subtitles on them. Is that what the Americans want? We don't even know what the hell the deal is. We don't know because we're being kept in the dark. Absolutely. It's crazy. And we're being told to boycott American goods in Canada. For example, El Bozos. These are some of the things that you're being told to boycott. 7-Eleven, Alamo Rent-A-Car, Amazon, American Eagle Outfitters, Apple Store, AutoZone, Banana Republic, Bath and Body Works, Best Buy, Burger King, Carhartt, Chick-fil-A, Chipotle Mexican, Cinnabon, Costco, Crate and Barrel, Dairy Queen, on and on and on it goes. Here's the big list of everything. KFC, Levi's, Little Caesars, Old Navy, like all of these things, Taco Bell, good Taco Bell, Thrifty Car, Vans, Walmart, Whole Foods Market, the whole thing, on and on and on and on. We're being told to boycott all of those American things and more. That's only a small list. I don't like stuff like that. I don't like to boycott. Well, put it this way. The only thing I will boycott is going to be Mark Carney because of him doing such a crap job for Canada. And therein, remember, I'm all for Alberta independence. These are all reasons. Everything I'm talking about are all reasons why Alberta just needs to separate from Canada, separate from all this bullshit, separate from the nonsense, and just go our own way. You know what I mean? Like, and then he's in bed with China is what it's all turning to here. Like, it's freaking unbelievable. Here's an article stating Canada has a massive China problem, and Trump is right there to call it out. Yeah, and there's that other part of it where Trump is also saying, no doubt, that Canada should not be trading with China. And I think that's part of this agreement here where Trump is trying to say, hey, you know what? We'll give you guys better deals with trading with Canada, lower tariffs and stuff like that. But Canada, you got to stop this trading, bringing in those Chinese exploding car EVs and stuff like that. Electric cars into Canada and, the rest of this trade that you have going on with China. You seem to be cozying up with China in, which of course is a communist country, and I'm like never pro-communism over here. I don't like to cozy up to communist countries because do we want more communism over here in Canada? Absolutely not. And we seem to see a lot of people that are like heavily embedded in China that are MPs with the Liberal Party, like it's unbelievable. We've got this whole story here saying Canada has a massive China problem and Trump is calling it out. Hydro-Quebec EE caught sharing secrets with China. Foreign interference of Canadian space engineer. Ex-RCMP helping China. Liberal candidate working with the head of Chinese police stations. Elbows up, everyone. Elbows up. Yeah, we've got a lot of Chinese interference here in Canada, and it's a real shit show. It's absolutely crazy what's going on in here in Canada, and we don't need that at all. Okay, we need to move on from that. Absolutely. Yeah. Here's the story with Trump. Let's bring this in here and hear what Trump actually has to say on this story here. Stand by for a little audio here. Let's hear what Trump has to say.
To a deal with Canada. As you know, the 50% tariffs across the board were going on against Canada today. And they called yesterday and they gave us the points that we had to have. Very fair deal for both. The tariffs will be non-existent for our farmers. Our farmers were paying tremendous tariffs into Canada.
Which is true.
Those tariffs are going to be totally eviscerated, down to zero.
Is the U.S. going to lower
He hopes.
tariffs on Canadian autos?
We're doing certain things. Got to give something, and we're doing certain things. They were paying a high number. We're reducing it a little bit. It's good for everybody. But our farmers are going to be thrilled. Our manufacturers are going to be thrilled. And basically, we have no tariffs going into Canada anymore. Canada was charging us tremendous tariffs. We no longer have any tariffs. And what I was able to do is we put, as you know, under the new tariff, I guess you'd call it the new tariff schedules that we came out with. They were going to get a 50% tariff on everything starting today. And we've held it back 3 days. It's all subject to finalization of documents. So subject to the finalization of documents, we have a deal with Canada. And I think it's a very good deal for both parties.
Yeah, and it never happened because he gave 3 extra days. The 3 extra days happened, and then Canada walked away. And you know what I dislike in life is when you're trying to make a deal with somebody on something. Okay, you're trying to. In my case, it's usually I'm trying to buy something. Okay, and if I'm trying to buy something and I'm negotiating with the other party, and the other party walks away from the table instead of finalizing the deal, oh, does that ever irritate me? That is not bargaining in good faith, doing something like that. When somebody walks away, it's like, well, I'll just move away from trying to buy that and just move along and go and find another one and make a deal with somebody else. But you know what? You can't do that in this case because this is a deal between the United States and Canada. You can't just walk away from the table and go and make a deal with China. Like, is that what Carney is doing? Or go and make a deal with France or UK or Australia? No. This is your biggest trading partner on earth. You have to make a deal. You can't walk away from the deal. You can't walk away from the table. That is just the most idiotic thing that Carney could ever do in his life. I'm just so disappointed in Carney that he would do something like that. He's not the guy for us, the guy for me. Absolutely. And on top of that, not only did he walk away, but he said that he's going to be announcing a dollar for dollar retaliatory tariff of 15%, 25%, and 50% on $28.7 billion worth of U.S. goods coming into Canada. Let's listen to this story. This announcement was just made. This is by, we call him Squeaky up here in Canada, Francois-Philippe Champagne. He made this announcement here just moments ago up here in Canada. Let's listen to this little story here.
Those tariffs will have real consequences for Canadian workers, businesses, and communities across our nation. Canada must respond, and today we are, in a proportionate, targeted, and strategic way. Today I'm announcing that Canada will match the United States tariffs dollar for dollar, rate for rate. Effective September 8th, Canada will impose counter tariffs of up to 15, 25, or 50% on $27.6 billion in imports from the United States of America. For each product, our tariff would match the American tariff on the same type of Canadian good. Those tariffs will have real consequences for Canadian workers, businesses, and communities across our nation. Canada must respond, and today we are, in a proportionate, targeted, and strategic way. Today I'm announcing that Canada will match the United States tariffs dollar for dollar, rate for rate. Effective September 8th, Canada will impose counter tariffs of up to 15, 25, or 50% on $27.6 billion in imports from the United States of America. For each product, our tariff would match the American tariff on the same type of Canadian good. Those tariffs will have real...
So effectively, what he's announcing is, Canadians, you will pay more for every American product that comes into Canada. Canadians, bite the bullet. Canadians, you have deep pockets. The Canadian government wants more of your money, Canadians, because we want to fight a battle with the United States, and we will do it using your money, Canadians. That's what the Liberals are telling you. You know, is that we're gonna fight Trump by charging you more money, Canadians, if you want to buy anything. And remember, a lot of the things on your shelves come from the United States. The food on your shelves comes from the United States. Like me trying to buy a coil for my metal detector or something like that comes from the United States. That's the only place that I can buy it from. I can't buy it from China or whatever. There's lots of parts that you need for your vehicles. They come from the United States. There's tons of things that you buy that are on the shelves that come from the United States. And you're going to pay more for all of those items, okay? It's going to cost you more. You're going to spend more of your money. And do you not think that that's going to cause inflation? Absolutely. It will be immense inflation in Canada. Your food prices are going to be up, and also a lot of your products that you buy are going to be up. It is going to be absolute craziness out there. And we are, we're in a situation where it is just plain terrible as to what's going on. You've got this guy here by the name of Ford. Okay, you guys know Doug Ford, which he's gotten into the whole thing. He's the premier of the province of Ontario, and he's come out. This little clip here is from radio, so there's no video on it, but let's listen to what he has to say about Donald Trump. This is Doug Ford. He's got a very blunt message for Trump regarding the Canadian-U.S. trade talks. And he's also threatening to triple prices on oil and critical minerals and things like that. Let's just listen to what And I say, you know what? He should actually shut his mouth up and be quiet. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say it, because all you're doing is being an irritant to Donald Trump, which is not helping the situation out at all. Sure, you're getting the sound bite. Trump is hearing what you're saying, and Trump is going to make retributions against Canada based on what you're saying. This is just plain idiocy here.
Well, he can kiss my ass as far as I'm concerned. We're going to go at him full steam. And we buy 400% more cars than anyone in the world. Maybe I have an idea. We'll get Danielle Smith on board, so the cars that they're manufacturing won't be able to fill up, because we'll be controlling the oil and the gas going down there. And maybe what we should be doing is charging him triple on the oil, triple on the potash, on the uranium, on our metals and our rare earth metals. That's what we need to do. We need to throw everything in the kitchen sink at him. He's arrogant. He's cocky. And, as Ronald Reagan said, if you come to a draw with a bully, what stops that bully from coming after you the next day and the next day? And that's all Donald Trump is a bully. Well, he can kiss my ass.
The first part of it again.
Well, he can kiss my ass as far as I'm concerned. We're going to.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And he's a politician, or he calls himself a politician. He's actually, up here in Canada, we call him he's a conservative, okay, but he's actually a liberal. Okay, I don't like Donald. I don't like Ford at all. Everything that he comes out with is rhetoric and calling people down and stuff like that. But what does Donald Trump have to say about Ford? Like, look at what Trump has to say. Look at this from Donald Trump. The United States is giving serious consideration to changing the name of Lake Ontario to Lake America, in that we don't expect doing much business with Ontario any longer. Thank you for your attention in this matter, President Donald Trump. So that's what happens when you tell Donald Trump to kiss your ass, right? Is that he comes out with something like that. He's giving serious consideration to changing the name of Lake Ontario, named after the province of Ontario, run by, Doug Ford, who's telling Trump to kiss his ass. And now Trump wants to change the name to Lake America. Unbelievable how this thing is going. It's just going completely sideways. It's a bunch of rhetoric. It's people calling people names and shit like this, And you got this guy Wob and Ford. They're both hitting at Trump there. Pretty much irresponsible, selfish. Not speaking for all Canadians, and they're just making things worse with what's going on with these trade negotiations here. Unfrickin' believable. We don't like it at all. Here's another one here. We support businesses for as long as it takes, rather, whereas the U.S. administration. Let's listen to this little clip here of from CBC of Mark Carney and his take on the negotiations here.
We're going to hit back. Okay, we're going to hit back, and we are going to provide tariff protection where we can, where it's relevant for some of those industries.
Oh, what does he mean by tariff protection? What he means is using my taxpayer money to pay for welfare for those guys that are going to be losing their jobs. That's what he means by tariff protection. You don't want tariff protection. You want to make a tariff deal so that people can work, so that businesses can survive. We can produce widgets and whatever it is and sell the stuff to the United States. Whatever the tariff is, we just have to pay that tariff. If businesses go under because they're unable to do business because of the high tariffs, I guess that's life. What can you do about that? But if you fail to make a deal and you go, oh, don't worry, we're going to protect your jobs, which you're not going to have because you're going to be on welfare, and we're going to use Tommy Temper's money or taxpayers' money to pay for your welfare because you can't make a deal with Trump. That is no way to negotiate at all.
Steel steel products and others is in some cases an example of that. We're going to provide full tariff protection there to prevent Americans businesses coming in and taking business. So that provides some. But more fundamentally, we will provide support, and we will do whatever it takes to support these businesses. We'll be releasing details of this early next week alongside our tariff actions to support these businesses. And we will support these businesses for as long as it takes. In other words, beyond the life of this U.S. administration.
Oh, and also subsidizing the businesses, which they've done already, which is, give steel companies, aluminum companies, whoever they are, like millions and millions of dollars of taxpayer money, like crazy. It's absolutely crazy what they're proposing to do. It's not going to help us whatsoever. And we need to make that deal. Make the deal. Go back to the drawing board and make the deal. That's what we need to do. Yeah. Let's hear more on. I know that I had more saved here. Let me just move on to them here on clips from yesterday and the day before. Let me just move on here. Oh, yeah, there's this whole thing here, too. It's called the transshipment scam thing that's going on here. This could be the reason that the trade deal collapsed, okay? Now, there's this business of when, Trump says, I don't want, for example, this is just an example. If Trump says, hey, we want to put up tariffs on Chinese steel, right? Because let's face it, Chinese steel is being proven to be substandard and not that great. And, they don't want that Chinese steel in the United States because they can manufacture their own Chinese steel. So what is ending up happening is the Chinese steel is coming into Canada because Canada has failed to put up meaningful tariffs on Chinese steel. So the stuff is flowing into Canada, and then we're manufacturing things in Canada, for example, automobile parts and things like that, from the cheap Chinese steel, and then selling the parts to the United States, or we're just rebranding that steel, putting the Canadian label on it and going, oh yeah, it's Canadian steel. Don't worry about it. It's not Chinese steel. So you've got that whole thing going on. That's called the transshipment scam. And that's one of the reasons why Trump is saying, no, we don't want, if we're going to make a deal with you, Canada, then we don't want you buying this cheap Chinese stuff and then rebranding it and then or remanufacturing it and sending it to us in the United States. Canada could not promise, would not stop Chinese steel being transshipped into auto parts and then into the U.S. market. The U.S. requires strict melt and pour rule. Steel must be melted and poured in North America to qualify for preferential treatment. This stops Chinese steel from entering Canada, getting light processing, and then crossing the border as North American content to evade tariffs. Recall the Canadian Steel Producers Association and Aluminum Association of Canada have both publicly confirmed Chinese dumping is happening, warning Canada risks becoming a dumping ground for China's excess steel and aluminum. A recent White House report on the transshipment scam also listed Canada as a problem country in China's shadow network for evading U.S. tariffs. Canada failed to deliver enforceable guarantees. Mexico accepted the melt and pour requirements, raised tariffs on Chinese steel and auto parts, and closed the back door. Meanwhile, us here in Canada, we left it open and the deal fell apart. So, keep in mind that there's stuff out there that you don't know about. You don't know what's happening, okay? And this is being hidden from you. What do you know about this, right? That may very well have been the first time that you've heard about this. That would be one of the reasons where Trump is making it clear that he wants Canada to put tariffs on the Chinese stuff that's being transshipped into the United States. And probably, we don't know because we don't know the details of the deal. Probably Carney is going, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to tariff the Chinese stuff coming into Canada. And Canada is then allowing the cheap Chinese steel to be, remanufactured, lightly processed, whatever you want to call it, and then shipped into the United States. And hey, I don't like to see that stuff coming into Canada anyways. I like to see the Canadian steel manufacturers not have to deal with that cheap Chinese stuff. Keep it out of Canada. Keep the tariffs on China. But Carney loves China. He loves China. He loves dealing with China. He's got something going on between Canada and China, and the same thing with the precursors for drugs, fentanyl, and all the rest of this stuff is going on as well. We're not stopping that stuff from coming into our country. We're doing a really bad job of keeping bad stuff and stuff that we don't want coming into Canada from China. Meanwhile, he's saying, "Oh, well, we'll allow 50,000 Chinese automobiles to come into Canada, 50,000 of them at 6.5% tariff." Meanwhile, the tariffs were, before he did that, at 100%, and the tariffs are 100% for those EVs coming into the United States. So, you have to consider that as well that's going on. He's like backdooring Chinese stuff to come into North America, and then the stuff will enter into the United States. Trump doesn't want that to happen, right? And it's just a terrible situation that we have going on. Not good at all. Terrible. And then you've got this guy, Wob Canoe, talking. He's the premier from Manitoba, and he's being bad-mouthing the whole situation here too. Let's hear what he has to say.
Donald Trump has certainly changed the world, but he hasn't changed us. The government of Manitoba is 100% behind the Prime Minister's direction to retaliate against Donald Trump's unjustified and immoral tariffs that are going to make life more expensive yet again for Americans. And we also know that Donald Trump won't be there forever. So let's continue extending that hand of friendship to the American people, and hopefully they will have Donald Trump and his folks see the door very quickly, and we could get back to better times with our neighbors to the south. Donald Trump.
Okay, so that's Wob Canoe. He doesn't like Donald Trump. On other clips, I've seen him talk about how much he dislikes Donald Trump. He's an NDPer, which is like further left than the Liberals in Canada. In fact, the NDP party likes communism, Marxism, and stuff like that, which we don't like here in Canada. You have to have stuff on LGBT type community. They're all pro for that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, there's an LGBTQ thing happening in Sylvan Lake here, and there's going to be booths all set up, like booths from different, companies that are selling nefarious LGBTQ type products and stuff like that. And one of the booths set up is going to be from NDP. NDP is going to have a booth at the LG events here in Sylvan Lake, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Okay. I could actually play this bit here about that, the LG. I'll just throw this in here. This is a funny little quip. This one here is a funny one. And it's, I don't know, you might not like this, but yeah, if you're LG out there, haha, we're just playing this clip because I think it's funny. But I saw this on the internet here. This is about the LG community here and all of those different letters that they use. And let's just listen to this.
They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+.
And for those of you fascists who don't know what that means, it's obviously missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning, intersex, and asexual. And we decided that the best way to honor these murdered and missing women was to lump them into the ever-growing category of gender identities and sexualities. We're also expanding that list to include the PWPPOTPs, or people who prefer pineapple on their pizza, as well as the WENTCWTPLs, or white empty nesters that clap in the plain lands. We will also be expanding out to the LXBM TATT MT3 SABR 31 FAT WOWO ABAIC, which of course refers to the Latinx busty MILFs that ask to try more than 3 samples at Baskin-Robbins 31 flavors, and then walk out without actually buying any ice cream. So we're going to have the full alphabet soon. So yeah, super sad about the murdered women, though, the Indigenous ones.
Yeah.
They provided $0 to deal with...
not to make fun of the murdered Indigenous women at all. But I don't know why they would... put that in with the LG community in the first place. I don't think that was a good idea to do that. And that's all that little bit was pointing out, is that it is pretty much going to an extreme. Yeah, exactly, Carrie. I know it's hard. It's hard to listen to that. East Coast, yeah. Pretty much, yeah. It's something weird about that. It's just plain weird. I don't know why I threw that in. Probably just because it popped up on my screen here, okay? What about David Eby? We may as well bring up the clip on him because, of course, he has to, get into the situation here. Let's hear what this is the premier of British Columbia.
I feel sorry for Americans. If you can't be friends with Canada, then you almost certainly do not have a friend anywhere in the world. And that is a very lonely place to be.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So sad. Brett, what do you have to say?
Fuck all the fucking way off.
Yeah, I know. I'd have to agree with that one there. Okay. Oops. I forgot to put me back on there before I scrolled. What about Kevin O'Leary? Kevin O'Leary. You guys either hate him or love him, whatever. He's the guy from the the Shark Tank on television there. Let's hear what he has to say on this whole situation.
Let's start with the Canada tariffs. What is your read on this, and how much do you expect prices to go up for Americans?
I take a long-term view of this situation as an investor, and many investors like me today are looking at this situation. And I don't take it lightly. Canada has been in an economic coma for the last 10 years just by the numbers of the G20. But one of the reasons I think this is short-lived, and this morning doesn't feel that way, I understand it. It's an all-out trade war, I get it. But long-term, there is no economic outcome that doesn't have these economies linked tariff-free. Let me explain why. And I look at this as an investment theory, and I think many other investors and sovereign wealth funds feel the same way. The reason Canada has had a slowdown in foreign investment has been bad policy. That's changing, because if you're running, $50, $100 billion sovereign wealth fund, you want to invest in Canada as an access to the U.S. market. In order for that to happen, you need stable policy. This is not stable policy. This is a negotiation. But let me give you an example. It's very easy to understand. Potash for one, and uranium for two. Basically, the U.S. market needs both. To the numbers, U.S. consumes 50 million pounds of uranium a year. It only makes 1 million. Where's the rest of the uranium? Saskatchewan. That's a province in Canada. Where's all the potash? Similar location. And so at the end of the day, you can't tariff that. It makes no sense. And we know as investors that ultimately will be worked out. Now, these fringe discussions that are going on in automotive parts and everything else, I get it. But nobody wants to see Canada forced to do business, particularly me, with China, the second largest economic market. We want to be unified together and spend 5% of our GDP defending ourselves against China, the adversary here. That's right. Coming soon. And I know this morning doesn't feel that way, but I can practically guarantee you, maybe not this administration, but the next one's going to figure this out, and they will unify tariff-free these very important elements.
Yeah.
Let's start with
Good point. Good points by Kevin O'Leary. We need to be able to work together. Okay. Now, in the United States, you've got different people that are running the country over a period of time. Trump is not going to be there forever. And even if the Republicans get in the next time, if Trump's not going to be, in charge, you might have somebody else that is a little bit more inclined to negotiate with Canada and give us a little better deal. Like O'Leary says, complete free trade is actually the very best thing for North America. We know that right now Trump is doing what he needs to do to bring jobs back to the United States. From all countries. It doesn't matter whether, one of the ways of doing that is making sure that cars are not produced over in England or Canada or Germany or China or wherever, that the cars, American cars, are being produced in Canada. And even he wants to see Hondas produced in the United States, right? And so you're not having jobs over in Japan, for example. Kias, whatever, should be produced in the United States. Bring the production over to the United States. That's what Trump is really doing. And really, we're just being put into the same container as the rest of the world, i.e. that if things are being manufactured in Canada, he wants them produced in the United States. But to the same degree, us up here in Canada, we should be more self-sufficient. We should be producing more items. And really, we've been relying on the United States a little bit too much, right? It's been a kind of a cozy relationship, i.e. even in the sense that we haven't been spending much on military up here in Canada because we're sort of under the wing of the United States. Who's going to take over Canada when the United States is sitting right next door to us, right? Is Russia going to try and bomb Canada? No, because the United States is going to go, whoa, you're not going to try and do that. Plus, we have NATO with that. If you try and bomb one NATO country, then the rest of the country should look out. But, I've also heard that, and even Carney has said himself that this is a war. This is a war that Canada is in with the United States. This is a trade war. Where's NATO? Shouldn't NATO be stepping in this war and helping little old Canada out here against the war that's happening with the United States? We don't hear a peep from any of these other countries at all. Where's the clips coming in from other countries, about this whole thing? We don't hear that they're helping us out at all, because they've all had to deal with the same war that Trump has brought upon them. And they've had the balls to get their negotiating team together, get over to the United States and to negotiate with Trump and come up with some kind of a deal. Instead of running away like Mark Carney, like a dog with his tail between his legs and going whimpering, oh, we can't make a deal with you. So, okay, and Trump is saying, well, if you're not going to make a deal with us, well, then pay 50% tariffs, okay? And over here, we're going, we're not going to make a deal with you. We can't. So we're going to impose 50% tariffs on stuff from the United States coming into Canada. That's what we're doing up here in Canada. That's the way that we're fighting back with this war, which is not being helpful whatsoever. We're going to be paying through the nose for a lot of things if we do that. And all you're doing is, when you put tariffs up in your country, you are causing your people in your country to pay more for those items, okay? So all you're doing is you're harming Canadians. You're harming me. You're harming you. You're harming everybody that lives in Canada. You're going to be paying more through the nose. For example, let's say that you're buying, a set of Waltech taps that are for your house, whatever, that are manufactured in the United States, okay? What are you going to pay 50% more for those taps at Home Depot? Hey, a lot of those items from Home Depot are manufactured in the United States. You're going to be paying more for all those items that are manufactured there. You've got, small items like little hardware items, things like that you need. When you go and walk into your store, you're going to be paying 50% more for that stuff. We don't want that. That's inflation. Likewise, food on your plate, you're going to be paying more for that stuff. It is absolutely ridiculous. What the heck are we thinking? Well, it's not me that's thinking that. It's the liberals out there. The liberals are not thinking. They're not thinking about what they're doing. Instead of negotiating, they need, and I'm not simping for Trump either. What I'm doing is I'm saying what a terrible job that Carney is doing for Canada. It's Carney that's not negotiating. Why doesn't Carney negotiate? Why is he running away? Like I said before, I really, really, really dislike somebody that when you get into an argument with them, that they simply just shut out. They shut down. They shut down and they refuse to talk to you and they walk away. You know what I mean? Like, that's what Carney is doing. Instead of dealing with Trump, dealing with what's on the table, bringing it in the open, telling Canadians what it is, what is the deal, what doesn't he like about the deal, instead of, saying, oh, well, it's French sovereignty and, being really, really, really vague about everything that's going on, bringing the Quebec into the situation, making Quebec, think that, oh, Carney's on our side. Carney's really working for us and he's the best guy since sliced bread, when we don't even know what the hell it is that they're talking about because he's not telling us, okay? And Carney even said to Trump, don't release the details of what these trade negotiations are, right? He told the Americans not to say anything about that. And, through what we're hearing from the Americans on this whole deal, Canadians are actually getting a better deal than any other country in the world. But yet that's not good enough. It's not good enough for Carney. Carney wants more. He wants a free trade deal with the United States. And it's not going to happen. We already realize that it's not going to happen. I'm not simping for Trump at all. Trump, I would rather that we have free trade. Absolutely. I would rather that we have that. But I know that I have even said many, many, many years ago that we need to, for example, put tariffs up against these cheap Chinese products coming into Canada so that we manufacture those products right here in Canada. Why can't you buy everything at the dollar store manufactured in Canada? Okay, there's such a things as 3D printers. We can set up factories, little widget products, 2-bit products, dollar store products, and all that stuff. You can make that stuff. We should be making blue jeans in Canada, underwear in Canada, socks in Canada, Any kind of clothing item, we should be manufacturing that in Canada. We did have plants manufacturing all that stuff in Canada, but then we started trading with China, and we started bringing that cheap stuff into Canada, which actually put the Canadian companies out of business. You understand that? You understand what happened? And, we need to put those tariffs up in Canada to bring those jobs back to Canada. But we're too foolish to do that because in our minds, we go like, no, we'd rather just have an outflow of capital, outflow of money to China and keep buying that cheap Chinese stuff instead of building it or manufacturing it here in Canada. We need to do better here in Canada. And with the politicians that we've put in power here now, we're not getting what we paid for, okay, at all. I didn't vote for the Liberals. I don't like what they're doing, and I would like to see Carney basically turfed out of there, and I really dislike the fact that he's spending billions and billions and billions of our hard-earned tax money to the benefit of the Brookfield Corporation. I won't even get into that here. That's a complete different issue. But, it is definitely a terrible situation that we're in. What does Carney have to say here? Carney is saying this. Carney, make a deal, for God's sakes. Oh, I was never going to negotiate a deal. Yeah, screw you, Canada. Screw you, Sandy. Because I'm a fraud, and it's only about Brookfield for me. Yeah, exactly. There you go. This is what it's all about. Yeah. So it's not, why am I simping for Trump? Why do I not like this guy, Carney? That's what it's all about. Come on, call it what it is. You can type all day long. Tommy, why don't you like Carney? Yeah, well, it's pretty obvious why I don't like Carney. Like, I didn't vote for him, and I don't like to hear what he has to say. Let's hear what this guy here, who is let's see if we have his name here. Scott Bessent here. He's tearing into Canada PM Mark Carney for trying to screw over America. Unfortunately, PM Mark Carney rose to power on an anti-American platform. He went back to this old playbook. And why is he doing this? Because he's got by-elections to win. The Liberal Party has by-elections to win. So they have to keep ragging on Donald Trump and the Americans, okay? Let's listen to what Bessent, B-E-S-S-E-N-T, has to say.
Want Canada to become a state. He did say that they're getting all the benefits of being a state without being one.
I think he would like Canada to come to the table and negotiate in good faith. They were offered quite a good deal last week. They chose to reject it. Unfortunately, Prime Minister Carney rose to power on an anti-American, anti-Trump platform. I believe he was more than 20 points behind, and he seems to have gone back to his old playbook. And I think one has to ask oneself, is he trying to benefit himself, the Liberal Party, or the Canadian people? Because they were offered a very good job. So,
a good deal.
Yep.
Yeah. So you see what he has to say. Canadians were offered a pretty good deal. Well, he said job, but he should have said deal. And didn't work out. It did not work out. Because why? Because we walked away from the table. Is that helpful? No. How's that going to work out for us? I don't know. Are they going to go back to the table? Or are we going to put the tariff for tariff tariffs against the United States in 2 weeks? Why 2 weeks? I don't know. Because the by-elections will be over within that 2 week period. Is that got something to do with the by-elections? Like, is Carney trying to use this whole anti-Trump rhetoric there to his own benefit? I think so. Yeah, I would have to choke on that and say, yeah, I think so. I think he's definitely using it to his own benefit. Yeah, pretty much. No matter what do you have to say there? No matter what deal Canada eventually signs with Trump, who's to say that Trump will keep his end of the deal? Nobody can say that, Sandy. Nobody. But this is not like you're trying to make a deal to buy something, and if you don't like the deal, well, you just close that one down, walk away, and then go over and buy it from somewhere else. It's not like that. There's only one USA. There's only one trading partner that is the United States. There's only one trading partner that shares a border with Canada. Okay, we do so much trade with them. I don't know what the numbers. What are the numbers? 75% of the trade that Canada does outside of Canada is with the United States, whereas the other way around, the United States maybe does 5 to 10% of their trade with Canada. Right, the rest they do with the rest of the world. We're small potatoes to the Americans. The Americans are a big deal for Canada. And you don't walk away from a trade deal where that country does 75% of their trade with you. That is just plain idiocy. It's craziness. It doesn't make sense at all. It's just plain crazy. And then you got people like this here that come up with crap like this. This is a clip from Doug Ford. Again, another clip. And he said stuff on the radio. He said stuff live. And let's listen to this clip from Doug Ford here.
Premier Sean Jefford, CBC News. I know you haven't had an opportunity to see this, but we were just looking at a very fresh post here from President Trump on Truth Social, taking aim at you personally, taking shots at you, suggesting you should fall in line, and that you are a flunky of the Prime Minister. Do you want to respond to these shots? What would you say to the president?
No, I don't respond to a dictator like President Trump, a bully like President Trump. As I said before, he's the type of guy in school that would take your lunch money one day, take your toque off your head the next day, and then steal your running shoes. But I'm not going to take any advice off a guy that's the king of bankruptcies. And he's actually tariffing his own people, taxing his own people. And I'm going to make sure I communicate through the U.S. media. I'm going to be reaching out to every single governor, every single senator, and every single congressperson. And when it comes to the midterms, I have a message to the Americans. Don't vote in a person that's going to kill your jobs. He ran on creating more jobs. Last time I checked, jobs went down in the U.S. and Ontario created more jobs. He ran on reducing the cost of living. Last time I checked, foods are more expensive down there. Homes are more expensive. And the reason homes are more expensive because he has a tariff on our lumber, which 33% of all homes that are built in the U.S. use Canadian lumber. So I'm not going to take lessons off President Trump. He's the last guy that I would take any lessons off. And it's about Team Canada. Well, we'll see how this goes. But he wants to put pain on Canadians. We'll leverage every bit of pain we possibly can on Americans. And I feel bad for? I've always said I love the American people. I still stand by that statement because there's a lot of people in the U.S. that are calling me saying, way to go, keep going. Your own people, President Trump, don't even like you. And they're going to speak loud and clear when it comes to the midterms. And if I was allowed to, I'd be down there door knocking.
Wow. Doug Ford does not like Donald Trump. And Donald Trump wants to change the name of Lake Ontario to Lake America because of Ford. Ford, holy jeez, he's like he's going berserk, and it's funny that he opens up his mouth like that and starts talking like that. Yeah, there's this clip in here too where he's talking about his ass again there. This is just plain funny. It's funny. It's funny to watch Ford open his mouth.
Just wondering, you sound a little more subdued than you did this morning on the radio when you said Donald Trump could kiss your ass. Did the Prime Minister tell you to ask you to tone it down a bit?
No, he didn't. I'm not going to comment, but he wasn't against that. And I have a lot of real estate on my ass, so he has a lot of room to kiss my ass. So
Well done.
I just do. I'm a big dude. What can I say?
Oh, jeez. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Big D, where's the proof Bassett knows nothing about Canada? He said we had no unions. That's the problem. Canada's 30% unionized, America 10% unionized. He knows nothing, just lies. Well, he has to talk in sound bites, sound clips, whatever. You get a little clip of something that he says or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, lots of unions up here in Canada. As a matter of fact, I was just thinking that in these clips of Ford with these workers behind him, they're probably union workers behind him, so they would be left-leaning people behind him. And, of course, Doug Ford is supposedly conservative, but with everything I've seen him say and do, he's a liberal. Doug Ford is a liberal. Let's face it, call it what it is. And he surrounds himself with some liberal thinking people, and then he bashes conservative types. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's all about, and that's why he can get people to stand around him and laugh like that. Just a plain sad situation. Sad situation that we're in up here in Canada. Anyways, I'm going to have to head on the road here today. Thank you very much, everyone, for being part of the broadcast here today. I just wanted to go over some of the things happening. And, hey, take your pick, whatever side you're on, whether you're on the side of Trump or on the side of Carney, or, whether you like what's going on or you don't like what's going on. Everyone has their opinion, and they're all opinions. I'm not trying to support anyone in particular. I would like Carney to get back to the negotiating table and not run away and try and harm guys like me, the little people in Canada, by making us pay more, for items that we need to buy from the United States. And that's what's going to happen if Canada puts up retaliatory tariffs against products coming in from the United States. I don't like to see that happen. I want to see a deal get done. And rhetoric and telling people to kiss your ass and stuff like that is not going to cut it. It's pretty childish. The liberals are the ones that call people names and say stuff like that. So it's just like Ford to say something like that. That there in itself is the proof that he's a liberal. Because those are the people that say shit like that. So that being said, I'd like to see you all. Take care, stay out of trouble, and have a good day. And let's get that trade deal done. And wait, how about Alberta independence? Let's do it. Woo-hoo. Bye-bye for now, everyone. Take care. Stay out of trouble. Oh, yeah. Where's my flag? Let's go. Beef on the grill so fine. Grain fields waving golden, canola blooming in the sunshine. Let's go. But Ottawa's taking our billions, unfair equalization gain, sending it east to Quebec while we shoulder the blame. No more pipelines blocked, no more carbon tax chains. We're done with the feds breaking free from their reins. Alberta freedom, ringing loud and true.
Fuck all the fucking way off.
Independence coming through. No more woke liberalism, stealing our way of life. Albertans stand tall, cutting loose from the strife. Rocky Mountains watching as we claim our own land. Freedom for our families with a rifle in hand. Alberta freedom, let the anthems roll. We're building our nation forevermore. From the prairie to the peaks, where the eagles soar high. We're sick of the traitors calling
That
us
tells me all I need to
traitors,
know.
that's a lie. Equalization's a thief, stealing our hard-earned pay, while they push their agendas, turning night into day. Beef ranchers and farmers, grain silos stand proud, oil rigs turning profits on their Why not, Salty? What happened? Alberta freedom. Let's go. Woohoo. Yo, bro.
But self-determination's all right. Like Ukraine from the Soviets.
Check out Fry's channel.
No more sending our wealth to fund their
Tricks
endless
FM.
schemes. Our pensions rising, fulfilling our dreams. Tired of the liberals, their rules and their games.
And this song is not gay. I actually wrote this song myself, so cut it out. Cut it out already. Yoo-hoo.
Canola fields yellow, beef herds grazing free, oil sands fueling futures as far as the eye can see. We're Albertans first, with hearts full of fire. Separation's the answer, lifting us higher. No more being the wallet for a broken confederation. Freedom's our birthright, our declaration. Alberta freedom, ringing loud and true. Sovereignty calling, independence coming through. No more woke liberalism, stealing our way of life.
Troy.
Albertans stand tall, cut loose from the strife.
Later, Gator.
Mountains watching as we claim our own land.
Thanks a lot, everybody out there. Even if I didn't give you a kudos or whatever. Fry TV, Troy in there, Brett in there, Super Salty, everybody else in there that was joining the broadcast. Thanks a lot, everyone. See you next time.